From the get-go, when I got to China, I realized that I was seeing things that China would not want the rest of the world to see. Prostitution, bribery, human trafficking, drugs, corruption, gambling. Not only do I have footage of all of these things from China, but I've got plenty of stories that I can back up as well. But I'm not going to be showing you those things. When I got to China, there are a couple of things that shocked me right off the bat. I mean, you guys have watched my videos for a while. You know about all the stories of me being homeless and, the trials and tribulations I went through to start a new life in China and all the adventures that I've had so far. But there are a lot of things I haven't talked about, and there's a reason I haven't talked about them, and that is because I didn't feel that it was my responsibility to air China's dirty laundry.
This is your captain speaking. Welcome to the United States of America. Today will be a high of 72 degrees and sunny in Los Angeles, California.
So I'm sure you noticed right now I'm not standing in China. I'm in fact in beautiful San Diego. I'm having a fantastic time, very busy time. We're starting a business, Sea Milk and myself. Here's a video, we'll tell you all about our plans, but we're going to be basing ourselves from here. I will be flying back to China in a couple of weeks to continue making videos on the streets of China as usual. You know, my wife's flown back already. She's already back in China. I'm going to go back, obviously. I don't want to be apart from my wife, and going to continue to live in China for a while we figure things out, and who knows really in the future where I'm going to end up permanently. But if all works out well, I'll be based out of San Diego, or at least the USA, flying in and out of China, in and out of other countries, and expanding my horizons beyond just China. But now, why don't I show you all these terrible things that I've witnessed in China? I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why I'm not willing to, at the moment, show or talk about some of the things I've seen. And I'm going to give you my reasons exactly why that's the case. Let's just start out from the beginning. You know, when I first arrived in China, I was actually quite overwhelmed by just the difference. Such a vibey place, you know, such an interesting place. Friendly people, interesting people, completely different culture to my own, different language, all that kind of nonsense. I've talked about it a lot. I ran out of money and I ended up homeless, and I got taken in by a friend who helped me, had a place for me to stay. And this was my first big shock. You know, I ended up living in the red light district of Shenzhen. It was a Shazui Cun, which was at the time, not anymore, they've gentrified it now, but it was basically the red light district. So I was staying in this handshake apartment, and I was in the red light district, but you know, that is what it is. But the worst part about all of this were my roommates, okay? Staying with this Chinese guy, and his girlfriend at the time was a prostitute. And she was a 19-year-old prostitute that had been sold to a pimp by her parents, and all of the money that she was earning, not only was she paying for this Chinese friend of mine's rent, she was paying the rent with her prostitute money, but every cent was being sent back to their hometown to pay for her brother's education. And I was appalled. You know, I felt so disgusted when I found out what was going on, because this was completely against my morals and completely against my character and completely against my culture. The fact that people would do such a thing to their own daughter, sell them off to a pimp, and then make the daughter pay for the son's education through the profits, and she had to pay off her pimp, and she's basically being sold into a life of, indentured, slavery. You know, it was absolutely appalling to me, and it was a huge shock. And I'd seen a big part of the very sort of dark underbelly of what goes on in China, because before that I'd just been focusing on these amazing positive things that I'd seen in China. And this really shook me to my core, because I am a very compassionate person, and to see someone having to deal with that kind of a situation was, like I said, heartbreaking. And I had to make a decision. I made a decision to myself. I was like, well, what can I do about this, you know? There was nothing I could do about that particular situation. Things, you know, that whole situation, me living there, didn't last very long, and before I left, she'd kind of disappeared. I don't really know whatever happened to her, and I can only hope that things worked out well for her. It is what it is. There's more to that story, of course, but I'm not going to divulge that, you know, because I don't feel the need to. So I got to be real with you guys and tell you why it is that I haven't talked about this in the past, and why I haven't talked about the things I've seen, the gang stuff, the gambling, the prostitution, the drugs, the corruption, the bribery, because I've been part of government meetings where I was whisked in and they pretended I was a big architect in order to sell, you know, huge government projects and construction projects and stuff all over the country. These were in my early days here in China. I've seen some pretty damning things, and I've recorded some very damning things too, which I still have because I'm a data hoarder. I have footage and pictures and all sorts of crap from years and years and years of being in China, and I've got a lot of damning and bad evidence which could make China look very, very bad if that was ever my intention. But I realized early on that this is not my place. It's not my place to show air China's dirty laundry. Number one, because I am a guest in China, you know. I stay there on my spousal visa as a guest, and if you're a guest in someone's house, you don't go digging around in the closet, finding all the skeletons and bringing them out and showing them to everyone, right? So that's number one. As long as I will remain a guest in China, there's no reason for me to ever talk about this stuff or show this stuff. Number two, I respect Chinese people. Now, I know this might seem strange because a lot of people seem to lump all of China together as one big entity. And to be fair, Chinese people lump all foreigners. It doesn't matter what country you're from. You can be from Scandinavia or South Africa or New Zealand or Germany or Africa. It doesn't matter where you're from, you're a foreigner. So they just say foreigners are foreigners. You're just one big lump of like outsiders. The thing is, I believe in people being individual. And the amazing, beautiful people that I've met during my time in China, including my own Chinese family and my Chinese wife, I have a lot of respect for them. And I would not want to cause them any undue grief by talking about these very sensitive issues and lumping them in with that, you know? When you deal with these disgusting kidnappers and human traffickers and pimps and all this kind of crap, these are terrible gangs and terrible people. The beggar gangs that I've talked about, you know, these kind of people, they are just awful, awful, awful people. And these people have got a lot to answer to. But you know, what's the point of me pointing out all these very, very sensitive and terrible things? Because the only thing it can really result in is, number one, me being detained and deported. So that's going to put a stop to any kind of good that I could do in the long run. And number two, getting my family and my wife in trouble, which is just something that I've never really wanted to do. So I find it quite interesting and hilarious when I get people going on about me making China look bad, because I think to myself, you know, hey doggy. So I have a huge chuckle to myself every single time people make forum posts about me or leave comments saying that, you white trash, you're just trying to make China look bad. Because if I really wanted to make China look bad, I could make China look like hell on earth like that. I've got enough footage, I've got enough stories, I've got enough proof. If I really wanted to do it, I could. But that's not my goal here, because I believe that every single country in the world has bad things going on. Things like drugs, prostitution, gambling, gangs, extortion, all this kind of nonsense. And that's not something that I aim to go out there and expose, because that is not my goal in life. I am not that guy. I'm not a policeman. You know, at the end of the day, I focus on things that are relevant to life, things that affect people like myself, people, my peers, people my age. It doesn't matter if you're Chinese or a foreigner. People living in China, they face these everyday issues, which can easily be overcome if a little bit of awareness, and I'm not trying to say change government policies or anything, because we all know that that's impossible in China. You can't, there's nothing you can do to change a government, you just have to roll with it. But if people's mindsets could change about certain things, you know, if people just decided to be a little bit more courteous or care about their fellow man just that little bit more, life would improve tenfold in a day in China. So that's why I bring up some of the topics I bring up. And that's also why I don't plan to, at least for now, ever release the footage and stories of the terrible things that I've witnessed in China, because I don't see the point. Guys, thank you for putting up with this. You know, there's this new chapter coming along where myself and Sea Milk will be traveling all over and expanding our borders beyond China. And it's going to be one of the most exciting, most fascinating and interesting things we've ever done in our entire lives. And I absolutely cannot wait to bring this to you guys. I cannot wait to go and do it, because the experience of living in China has really set me on a path. And the train has now left the station. There's no stopping it. So I absolutely cannot wait to see all of you guys out there in the world. So thank you for watching as always. I'll catch you next time. And as always, you know the drill. Stay awesome. Hey guys, thank you. I honestly wanted to give you a heartfelt thank you. Not only to everybody who watches me, because obviously I appreciate that a hell of a lot, but especially to those of you who support me on Patreon. You guys make this possible, you know. I've had people go after my livelihood a lot, try to shut me down, but because I've been able to support myself and you guys have helped me support myself, I can continue doing what I'm doing. And I am so excited to bring all this new content to you guys. You have no idea. I can't wait. I really just can't wait, because the stuff I've got lined up that I've already planned and already started to film is going to be so much fun. So guys, thank you for sticking with me this far, and I can't wait to see where we all go together. So see you in the next video. Hey there guys, while you're staying awesome, don't forget that every single Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's American Standard Time, you can see a SerpentZA video. And on Wednesdays over there, you'll be able to see a Laoway 86 video, also at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget the most important channel, ADVChina, where you can see Seamilk and myself having adventures around the world every single Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll catch you in the next one. Stay awesome.